On October 22nd, 1745, a young boy, just 12 years old, and his family decided to go fishing on the Monongahela River near Holt, West Virginia. It was one of those fall days where the water looked calm and inviting. They figured between all of them they could catch something good for dinner. They eagerly walked down to the riverbank, baited their lines, and cast out. It was going to be a wonderful family day out. But what they didn't know was that something else was lurking just beneath the surface. After around an hour, the boy got a bite. He excitedly set the hook. However, when he did, the water out in the river started bubbling. It was like it was boiling. His pole was jerked out of his hand. As he slowly turned to look at his dad confused, an enormous turtle-like creature suddenly erupted from the water, grabbed him at his waist, and pulled him into the water. Fucking terrified, the boy tried to scream for his life, but it was quickly muffled by the river water and finished as a sickening gargle. When they turned to look, they saw him struggling against the water, kicking and thrashing wildly. His horrified relatives watched helplessly as the beast dragged the screaming child beneath the surface. Then, in seconds, something massive and dark rose up from the river. The family described it as this huge fucking creature, bigger than anything they'd ever seen in the river before. The boy was never seen again. The Monongahela Monster, aka the Holt Monster, aka the Rivesville Monster, is one of those creatures that feels way too damn real to be just a campfire story. Lurking in the murky waters of the Monongahela River, this beast has been part of the area's dark folklore for centuries. Some say it's a prehistoric monster that never died off. Others say it's something much, much worse. Native Americans called it the Ogua, which means water devil or river demon. Descriptions of the Ogua have stayed pretty damn consistent over the years, and trust me, none of them are comforting. Witnesses state it's a massive, hulking creature, between 20 and 30 feet long including the tail, and weighs in between 400 and 500 pounds. It's got a massive, rounded body like a prehistoric turtle or alligator with reddish-brown, rough, scaly skin. Some say it has a row of spikes going down its back. It's often described as having powerful legs with webbed feet, wicked claws, a thick tail, and a monstrous head. The Ogua's head is as big as a goddamn beer keg. It's said to be blunt and bullet-shaped, like a monstrous alligator snapping turtles. Its jaws are massive and rugged, lined with jagged teeth and powerful enough to crush the bones of its victims. Some reports claim the creature has horns, spikes, or craggy ridges on its head. Its eyes are described as either yellow or red, blazing with a fierce, predatory gleam. You'd think something that fucking ugly would be easy to spot, but the Ogua is a master of stealth. Blending into the river's muddy waters, you won't see it till it's too late. The legend of the Ogua goes all the way back to the Native American tribes who lived along the Monongahela River, namely the Shawnee and the Delaware. The tribes had a deep respect for the rivers, believing them to be alive in a way most folks today don't understand. They told stories about a massive water beast that would snatch animals and sometimes people from the riverbanks. And it wasn't just some bullshit superstition either. It was treated like a serious fucking threat. Warriors were warned not to linger too long near certain parts of the river, especially during the early mornings or late evenings, when the creature was most active. To them, the Ogua wasn't just another spirit or tall tale. It was a goddamn living nightmare, and if you weren't careful, you'd vanish without a trace. As far as behavior goes, the Ogua has got a serious tude. It's always described as highly aggressive and territorial, attacking anything it figures as a threat or potential prey. This thing is a straight-up predator. It hunts, it stalks, it waits. From everything I've pieced together, the Ogua seems to be an ambush predator, lurking just beneath the surface of the water until something, a deer, a cow, person, gets too close. Then it strikes with brutal efficiency, dragging its victim under before anyone even realizes what's happening. It's fast, way fucking faster than something that size should be. The beast's tail is a deadly weapon in its own right. Some accounts claim the Ogua can lash out with it like a whip, stunning or knocking prey into the water where it can more easily dispatch them. Other tales suggest the monster uses its tail to capsize small boats, dumping unfortunate occupants into the river to be devoured like it's bobbing for apples. And where does the Ogua take its victims? That's the part that really sends shivers down your spine. Deep along the bends and hidden coves of the Monongahela, there are rumors of underwater caves and hollowed-out lairs where the creature drags whatever it catches. Some say it builds up nests of bones and debris, creating a kind of underwater graveyard hidden from human eyes. Others believe it just devours its prey whole in these underwater dens, leaving no evidence behind. Either way, once you're pulled under, you're pretty much fucked. It's not just about drowning, it's about being dragged to a place no one can find your body. A place where sunlight and hope don't exist. One of the craziest parts about the Ogua legend is that it's not strictly a water creature. It's amphibious, meaning it's just as comfortable on land as it is in the water. That's a hell of a lot scarier when you realize you're not safe just because you're standing on dry land. The Ogua can haul its massive ass up onto the shore, snatch a victim, and slide right back into the goddamn river without missing a beat. Its tail is said to leave a distinctive serpentine groove in the soft mud and dirt along the riverbank, a frightening sign that it's been there. Imagine coming across a track like that by the river, then realizing that a giant-ass monster had hauled itself ashore right there just a few minutes ago. It's the stuff of nightmares. Some stories even suggest that during rainy seasons, when rivers flood and wetlands expand, the Ogua's hunting range grows too. It can slither through flooded forests, creep along muddy banks, and hunt in places you'd never expect. That amphibious nature makes it a lot harder to track, trap, or even predict. It's an apex predator that knows no boundaries. It's this adaptability that's helped the Ogua survive for so long without being officially discovered. It's patient, it's brutal, and it knows the land and water better than we ever could. That's part of what makes the legend so enduring. It's not just about a big scary monster in the river. It's about something ancient, primal, and terrifyingly smart. Something that's been lurking just out of sight for centuries, waiting for the next unlucky bastard to wander too close. Over the years, plenty of people claim they've had terrifying encounters with this fucker. Some lucky enough to survive, and others who just disappeared. Let's talk sightings. If you're out near the Monongahela River and you know what to look for, there are signs the Ogua might be lurking nearby. People have reported hearing strange splashes, but not the kind a fish makes, but something heavier being dropped into the water, like a cow. Sometimes you'll see giant drag marks leading from the riverbank into the woods, as if something huge and heavy slithered out of the water. Even creepier, locals talk about finding half-eaten deer carcasses along the shore, the bodies ripped apart with massive bite marks that don't match anything we know of. The first known story tied to the Ogua goes back to 1745, the one I talked about earlier, when a 12-year-old boy was fishing and was snatched up and dragged underwater by something massive. Witnesses described seeing a huge, dark shape rise from the water and pull the kid under before anyone could react. No body was ever recovered, and the only thing left behind was his fishing pole caught in the reeds. After that, the local tribes and settlers started treating certain parts of the river like cursed zones, places you just didn't go unless you had a real damn good reason. Not long after that first horrifying incident, another report popped up in the late 1700s, this time from a young soldier stationed at Fort Harmar, near present-day Marietta, Ohio. In a letter to his family, he described seeing something monstrous in the river during a routine patrol. According to the letter, he and another soldier were crossing a shallow part of the Monongahela when they spotted a massive, dark creature moving against the current. He said it was bigger than any alligator or fish he'd ever seen, with a huge, rounded back that kept breaking the surface as it moved. The two soldiers scrambled back to shore, rifles drawn, but the creature disappeared beneath the water before they could fire a shot. The young soldier was so rattled by what he saw, he ended the letter by telling his family he planned to avoid the river entirely from then on. Men stationed at the fort eventually managed to club the monster to death. It had 2 heads and weighed 444 pounds. Throughout the 19th century, sightings didn't slow down. In fact, as more settlers moved into the area, the number of strange encounters grew. Fishermen reported losing entire nets to something powerful pulling it from below. Some farmers near the river claimed to hear terrible splashing sounds at night, followed by the screams of livestock that wandered too close to the water's edge. One particularly chilling account from the 1830s described a group of hunters who spotted a massive, turtle-like creature dragging a full-grown buck into the river with terrifying ease. They tried to shoot it, but their bullets either missed or bounced harmlessly off its tough-ass hide. When they tried to follow the beast downriver, it was like it had just fucking melted into the landscape, gone without a trace. Fast forward to the 20th century, and you'd think maybe with all the new technology and better weapons, the Ogua sightings would finally end. Nope. Reports kept rolling in. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression, some families who were living off the land along the Monongahela told stories about disappearing livestock, whole cows and horses, without a sound. Locals would sometimes find massive gouge marks in the riverbanks or strange prints in the mud. Prints way too big to belong to any normal animal. In the 1950s, a couple of teenagers out joyriding along the river saw something huge lumber across the road ahead of them during a late-night storm. They described it as low to the ground but unbelievably wide, moving fast despite its size. When they went back the next day, they found deep, water-filled tracks leading back toward the river. Their story got passed around town and added fresh fuel to the old legends. In 1983, a string of sightings around Rivesville, West Virginia, lit up the local news. The wildest report came from a coal miner named John Edward White. He was out fishing one night when he saw this huge, snake-like creature rise up out of the water just a few yards from his boat. It had a massive head, long, thrashing tail, the whole 9 yards. White just sat there, scared shitless, watching it move like something straight out of a creature feature. His story hit the papers, and then more people felt comfortable enough to come forward with their own run-ins. That wave of sightings turned the Ogua from some backwoods legend into a full-blown cryptid comeback story. It wasn't just a spooky tale passed around the campfire anymore. It was happening now, and people wanted answers. Cryptozoologists, monster hunters, and curious thrill seekers started flocking in from all over the country, hoping to get the first real proof of the creature. Suddenly, the Ogua wasn't just a monster, it was their monster. A piece of Appalachian pride that gave the Monongahela River Valley its own creepy claim to fame. Even in the 21st century, the Ogua hasn't gone quiet. In 2003, a fisherman near Pittsburgh took a photo of the creature, but the blurry image was inconclusive. In 2006, a kayaker reported seeing a dark hump break the surface of the water and keep pace with his boat for almost 2 minutes before vanishing with a violent splash. He said he felt like it was just toying with him. In 2012, a fisherman found a massive footprint near a muddy bank about the size of a manhole cover with deep claw marks at the tips. He took a few pictures, but of course, dickheads online just laughed it off. Still, those who grew up hearing the old stories took one look at those photos and said, "Yep, that's Ogua territory." And one of the most recent reports was from just a few years ago. In 2020, a group of campers claimed they were awoken by guttural, snarling sounds in the middle of the night. When they shined their flashlights toward the river, they caught a glimpse of something massive sliding back into the water. The only evidence left behind were huge drag marks leading from their campsite to the river's edge. What's really crazy is how consistent these stories are. No matter what decade they come from, people describe it the same way. A huge, dark turtle or alligator monster that can move through water and land with terrifying speed. A creature strong enough to drag down deer, cattle, even people without leaving anything behind. Legends are easy to dismiss until you realize something very real might be hunting in those waters. So, what is the Ogua? Is it a flesh and blood creature? A living relic of a prehistoric age? A case of mistaken identity? A hoax? Or a tall tale that has taken on a life of its own? Or could it be something more? A manifestation of our primal fears and fascination with the unknown? To figure that shit out, we gotta see what the theories and possible explanations are behind the Monongahela Monster. Nobody can agree on what the hell the Ogua really is. And honestly, that's part of what makes this monster so goddamn creepy. Over the years, a lot of theories have bubbled up from the depths. Some grounded in science and some straight out of a nightmare. Let's dig into the possibilities, both the logical and the legendary. First up, the skeptics. These folks think the Ogua isn't some ancient monster. It's just nature doing what nature does best, scaring the fuck out of people. One of the most popular theories is that the Ogua is actually a giant river turtle. Sounds crazy, but when you look at the descriptions, huge, bulky, tough as hell, able to move between water and land, it tracks pretty well. Some folks even throw around the name Stupendimes geographicus, an absolutely massive prehistoric turtle that once roamed South America 13 million years ago. No bullshit. They were roughly the size of a Volkswagen Beetle and weighed 2,500 pounds. Imagine seeing one of those motherfuckers breaking the surface of the foggy river. Yeah, you'd be bricking it too. Another pretty good theory? An oversized alligator snapping turtle. These modern-day tanks can grow up to 250 pounds and pack enough bite force to take your hand clean off. Their spiky shells and shitty attitudes make them a hell of a lot like something out of a goddamn horror movie, especially if you caught a glimpse of one in the murky water. And then there's the "it's just a damn alligator" crowd. Believe it or not, alligators have been spotted way north of where they're supposed to be. Rivers like the Mississippi and Ohio are basically giant monster highways if you think about it. In fact, back in the 19th century, people were freaking the fuck out over gator sightings along the Allegheny River in Pennsylvania. And as recently as 2019, a 7-foot gator was found just hanging out in a Pittsburgh park. Someone's pet got too big and was set free. What if some of those beasties managed to survive and started up a little secret love colony down there? Giant turtle porn? Nasty. But honestly, that could explain why folks in the Monongahela Valley started whispering about something yanking people under the water. But if you ask the cryptid crowd, and let's be real, they're the ones who have the most fun with this stuff. They'll tell you the real story is way darker. The Ogua isn't just a big turtle or a rogue gator. It's a legit river monster. A straight-up cryptid that's been slipping through the cracks of history for centuries. Some folks even suggest it's a cousin of the Loch Ness Monster. Others go bigger, way bigger, and claim it's a relative of Mokele Mbembe, that legendary dinosaur-like creature that's stomping around the Congo and clogging up waterways. And then there are the plesiosaur truthers. Oh fuck yeah. People who figure that a small population of marine reptiles survived the mass extinction event and adapted to freshwater life. Picture a monstrous, thick-bodied, long-necked creature gliding through the backwaters of Appalachia. Shit, that's nightmare fuel right there. The idea of a prehistoric monster just chilling in the Monongahela River fits right in with some of the other creepy legends that swirl around Appalachia, like the mysterious Brown Mountain Lights or the creepy-ass not deer. Strange, ancient things slipping in and out of the real world. Maybe that's why the story of the Ogua refuses to die, even after all these years. Skeptics want to write it off as misidentifications or runaway pets. Believers, though? they see something bigger, something older, something that doesn't give a damn about what we think we know. And honestly, after everything we've seen lurking in the forgotten corners of the world, can you really fucking blame them? So let's recap what we're dealing with here. A monster story that goes all the way back to the 1700s. A 12-year-old boy dragged under and never seen again. Eyewitness accounts scattered across centuries, from colonial soldiers to modern-day locals, all describing the same goddamn thing. A massive, turtle-like creature with a nasty temper and a taste for flesh. It's amphibious. It drags its victims to a lair somewhere beneath the river, and it's never been caught. Never been proven. Never been explained away. We've heard the theories. The skeptics say it's a big-ass turtle or a rogue gator with an attitude problem. The believers say it's something ancient, something prehistoric that never died off, just disappeared into the deep until someone got too close. Some even think it's a cryptid that moves through rivers like a shadow, slipping between our world and something much older, something darker. But here's the thing that keeps people up at night. No one's ever truly gotten a handle on it. No one's found the lair. No one's caught it on camera. No one's even come close to dragging it out of the water. And yet the stories keep coming. The sightings, the disappearances, the splashes along the riverbanks. That's the part that gets under your skin. Not just that something might be out there, but that it's smart enough to stay hidden. That it chooses when to show itself. That after all these years, it still decides when to strike. So, if you ever find yourself down by the Monongahela River alone, with the water lapping at the edge of the bank, ask yourself this: how deep do you think that river really goes? And what the hell might be looking back at you from the bottom? If you vibed with this video, tap that like button and subscribe. That way you won't miss out on more of my fucked up commentary. And besides, I really do appreciate it. What do y'all think the Monongahela Monster is? A big turtle? A gator? A bona fide cryptid? Let me know down in the comments. And if you really want to do me a solid, click on that join button below the title and become part of my YouTube membership. For as little as $2.99, y'all can help me out more than you know. Until next time, y'all keep it real, keep it chill, and stay creepy! Catch you on the flip. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. You are the real beast.